Good evening, Don Palayo here checking in again. It is Wednesday, April 30th, last day of April. I cannot believe that. Tomorrow is May 1st. I feel like time needs to slow down just a little bit. We're a third of the way through 2025 and I'm just getting older and it needs to slow down a little bit. um, it's been a few days since I put a video out. I know, I need to get with it. I need to get a regimen going here. It's like I've got so much going on with my primary job, my secondary job, and trying to make money, trying to stay afloat during all of this economic fun that we're having right now. I think everybody's, well, not everybody, but most Americans are feeling the pinch right now. There are some very well-to-do Americans out there. I work with their things daily. It's like that's what I do for a living. But for the rest of us, for the 99%, we're here working in the mines, trying to keep things afloat. Um, I I was listening. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts on YouTube here recently, and it's like all I hear now is just negativity, negativity, negativity. I don't hear a whole lot of positivity out there right now, and that's a little bit of a problem. You know, some of the negativity I feel like is a little unwarranted. There's some of it's warranted, some of it's unwarranted. um, I've been hearing, oh, Doge has failed. They've only cut 30 billion of spending when they said they were going to cut 2 trillion. Well, they've only been in there for 3 months. It's like, it's like, come on, guys. It's like they've only been in there for 3 months. Trump's plan, what he is trying to do. Well, I know he wants to try to bring more manufacturing back to the United States, but that's not going to happen in 3 months. You're not going to see that happen in 3 months. It's going to take several years for us to see the fruit from that. It's like he's trying to get the environment. You have to create the right environment for that to happen. But it's going to take years because new factories have to be built. They have to bring in machinery and everything, and it takes a lot of time to get all that done. And there's been some, progress with companies saying that that they're going to be opening up new manufacturing facilities, all of that. But it's going to take time for us to feel the results from that. We'll see. I've been watching the markets a lot lately. The market was down really big this morning, and it actually closed positive, which is kind of hard to believe. But there's just so much volatility right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. Everybody's a little bit nervous. A little bit. They came out with an economic report this morning, saying that first quarter GDP was down 0.3%, and not a huge dip, but a dip. And usually, if you have 2 quarters in a row like that signals that we're in a recession. To be honest, I think we've been in a recession for a few years now, but the government's been covering it up. So I think most Americans know it. Most Americans, when they look around, I think they feel. I mean, I think they felt it. I think a lot of Americans have felt that we've been. I don't think we've really gotten to normalcy ever since 2008, to be completely honest. Yeah, we had a good big stock market boom, but why did we have that boom? Because the Federal Reserve's printing money like out there yin yang. That's the reason why. It's all the money printing the Federal Reserve's been doing. That's the whole reason the stock market's been climbing the way it has for the last 15 years. It wouldn't be anywhere close to where it is without the Federal Reserve pumping out all that money, the quantitative easing. So, we just haven't been in a normal economic environment for a while. When I was in college, I graduated with a degree in finance, and it's back then you had, PE ratios, price to sales ratio. You had all these different ratios that you use to determine the value of a stock. that is dead. Those days are over. Those ratios don't mean diddly squat anymore. The only thing that matters today is the Federal Reserve going to start liquidating? Are they going to bring interest rates down, and are they going to be easing? That's all that matters to the market these days. And that's not a healthy environment. That's not a healthy market environment. And so we got some problems. There's some problems with the market in general. So um, I've got my Texas Rangers shirt. I wore this to work today. They had a good game last night. I've been a Texas Rangers fan ever since I was about 13. I was a Nolan Ryan fan first, and I was a big fan of Nolan Ryan when he was with Houston. And then in 1989, he was Texas acquired him, and I went over to the Texas Rangers and became a fan of the Rangers. That was a long time ago, and I've been a fan of the Rangers ever since. They wound up winning the World Series in 2023, which I was really happy about. I had been waiting a long time to see that. I thought we were going to win it in 2011. I'm still not over David Freese for that thing. David Freese and the Cardinals back in 2011. Yeah, I was watching that, and we were one strike away from winning the World Series, and we lost. And it was heartbreaking as a Rangers fan. Um, but the Rangers this year, it's been kind of a strange year for the Texas Rangers. They have normally I'm used to a Rangers team that has a big beefy offense and no pitching. Well, this year our pitching is amazing. We're like in top 5 teams in baseball right now in terms of our pitching, but our bats have been pathetic. Well, last night their bats woke up a little bit. They scored 15 runs last night. That was good to see. I'm hoping some of them are starting to come around. It's like, wake up, guys. This is the real season. This isn't the spring training anymore. Come on, guys. We'd been down to like bottom 5 in terms of batting average and on base percentage like the whole season, and we're starting to climb up a little bit, but it takes time to get that batting average up. And I think our team batting average is like 233 right now, and it's like, okay, I want to get us up somewhere up to around 250, 260 as a team. That would be, I'd feel pretty good about that. Rangers have always had a little bit of pop, so we're never too far, out of the pack in terms of home runs and slugging percentage, but our batting this season has not been that great. So hopefully they'll keep pulling that up. But good job for our pitching staff. I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do with my own investment portfolio. Going back to finance, sorry about that. Finance is kind of on everybody's minds right now, and I think a lot of people are really concerned, really worried. The government's getting ready to start collecting on student loans again. I still have a little bit of student loan debt to pay off. Life kind of gets in the way, doesn't it? It's like I should have had it paid off a long time ago, but then you go through divorce, marriage, another divorce, and these things happen, and they kind of mess you up. And I would have had it paid off a long time ago if I hadn't have been messing around in relationship stuff. But relationships have never been a good thing, have never been much of a positive for me. It's always been the thorn in my side my entire life, pretty much. And I'm 48 years old. I'm single. I don't think that's going to change. I don't plan on that changing. It's just always been a disaster with me. I kind of gotten to the point where it's like, I don't know. I don't even expect it to go anywhere anymore. I think I've just kind of given up on it. It just is what it is. So at this point in my life, it's like I'm just trying to enjoy my hobbies, trying to enjoy things that I do, working as hard as I can to put lots of money aside for my kids, for my own retirement. There's part of me that's wondering if I'm even going to retire. I may just keep working as hard as I can and building up much in terms of assets as I possibly can until I die. and I can leave my kids as much as possible. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do right now. That's where my mind is right now, and all a relationship is going to do is distract me from what I'm trying to get done now. And I just there's other reasons too, but it's just I can't deal with it anymore. I've got to move on. It's like it's always been a problem for me, and I've got to move on. Have to move on. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't usually do this, but I got a great meatball sub at a local sub place here in my hometown. It was good. It's pretty good. The marinara sauce with the melty, gooey cheese that stretches everywhere. Yeah, it was good. I'm trying not to eat like that very often. I have lost like 85 pounds in the last, since October, well, no, since about last July, I guess, about 10, well, no, it hadn't been that long, about 8 months probably. Something like that. I'm, uh, I'm worn out. My job here lately, I have been dealing with I've been building a lot of financial plans at work for not for normal average Americans, but I've been building financial plans for deca millionaires. They call them deca millionaires, people that have net worth in excess of 10 million and above. And I've done a couple of those here in the last week, and my brain, by the end of the day, I've got a headache. My brain is hurting. It's just, you start getting people like this, and they've got all these different real estate properties. You got all these business ventures. You got all this stuff going on, and it's just a lot. It's just a lot to. You're trying to get all the details right. There are fine details that go into these financial plans in terms of when things are going to be sold, and what tax rate they're going to get taxed on it, and it just yada yada yada. So many little different things that go into all of this. But anyway, so I've been dealing with all that wonderful stuff this week, and it takes a while. It takes a good little while, especially when they don't upload their accounts, and you have to sit there and get their statement and go through their investment statement and individually put in each of their positions in their investment accounts. And they've got like the entire stock market, and individual stocks. It's like, oh my gosh, man. It's like you have to put in the ticker, you're putting in the cost basis, the current market value, number of shares, yada yada, all of that. You're putting into the system. Anyway, I'm over it. I'm over it. I feel like I need a vacation. I am going on vacation in June, so I've got a few more weeks. I'll be going down to Florida for a few days. I need it. I need a break. I'm kind of ready for a break. I don't know what to tell you guys right now about how to best position yourselves for this market, because things have just been so volatile. There's so much uncertainty. And to be really honest with you, I don't really feel like we've had a normal market for some time. We're kind of in a new economic model, ever since 2008, really. It hasn't been normal since then. And so it's kind of difficult to advise people. It's like you tell them to be as diversified as they can, but right now I just feel like the American economy is shrinking. I feel like we're to be honest, I mean, and this is my own personal opinion. This is not the opinion of my employer, not the opinion of anyone but myself. I think things are worse than they're letting on. They don't want the American people to panic, and I think this has been happening for a while. I don't think this is just like the last 3 months. This has been going on for years. That things are worse than they're letting on, and the debt that our government is running up is one sign of it. where we just keep building up trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, and I just don't see how our children, people, we're not having as many kids. People aren't having as many children these days. So, our population is aging. There's not going to be as many people in our country, except unless we allow all these immigrants to come in, and heaven knows if they're going to, a lot of these migrants, they come here to earn money that they send back home, and they eventually plan on going back home and just taking the money with them. It's like they're not really planning on staying here and contributing to the benefit of our country, for a lot of them. Um, so I don't know. I see a lot of red flags, and it's like it's hard to know. It's like you don't, stocks could be a little bit volatile, but bonds could be volatile. I know Trump really wants them to lower rates, which if rates go lower, that would raise bond prices. But at the same time, we're getting to a point where foreign governments are not wanting to buy U.S. debt, and so that puts pressure on interest rates to rise. The Federal Reserve is buying a lot of the debt. They're going in and buying debt when they're having a hard time finding buyers. The Federal Reserve is just buying it, holding it on their books. It's a house of cards. It's a house of cards, and it's not that hard to see it right now. To be real honest with you, I feel like it's very much a house of cards right now. It's like the Federal Reserve's got what it's doing on its end, and it's trying to keep things supported. It's trying to hold it up, but I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in our economy right now. Not even really just the American economy, but just this economic model that the West has been operating in ever since like World War II. Um, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in socialism or communism either. Trust me, I'm not. That model hasn't been very successful anywhere. You know, it's like some people will point at like these European, socialist countries, but they're not socialist. These European countries they're capitalist countries too. They've got companies and businesses just like we do here. They do have a little bit more of a safety net in some regards than we have here in America. America has always been, about the individual. It's always been that way here in the United States. We were built on that. You were expected to be, to take care of your own and be independent. And Europe may not have had that same. It's more about the country. It's more about the whole nation than it is about any one individual. So they have their safety nets. They've got the universal health care. They do have private health care as well. Some people don't realize that they do have the universal health care system there in Europe, but some people choose to buy health insurance that can get them in quicker. It can help them, access care a little easier, especially more expensive procedures, more rare procedures. They can get a better quality of care by buying their own personal private policy. But anyway, I am really tired. I think I'm gonna go to bed pretty soon. Tomorrow is Thursday. It feels like it should be like Saturday. It feels like today's Friday. It feels like today was Friday, but it was Wednesday. I am worn out. I am going to do my best to get these videos out periodically. You guys feel free to send me any notices if there's anything that you got on your mind. Just let me know in the comments. I will be reading comments, so feel free to leave comments. Cash, feel free to, if you so desire, shoot me a couple bucks. I have the Cash App in the description. Fight the decline. We're trying to fight this decline, this malaise the United States has been in. Not just financially, but socially. Our culture has really eroded in the last 70 years, and we need to turn that around. We need to turn it around. We got a lot of problems, societal problems, and we need to start fixing this stuff. Um, the whole the whole West has got some problems, but the U.S. Especially, that's where I'm from. So anyway, fight the decline on the Cash App in the description, and I will be getting some more material out to you guys shortly. This is Don Pelayo checking out.